So today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I'm not on the walk. I'm going to sitting in the living room on the sofa, and I thought we'd do something a little bit different, and that would be we've covered the setup of cash flow forecast, right? We've looked at the time horizon that we would do a forecast for, tools that we would use. We've also looked at how we pull together the collections forecast and the cost forecast, brought it all together into a total forecast and why we would do that. But today, I thought what we would do is we would look at where we get that data from in order to develop these cash flow forecasts, right? Because the way you pull the data together is different than how you would do a profit and loss account or any other type of financial reporting, which is done on a what's called an accrual accounting basis. And every company has to do accrual accounts in a profit and loss and balance sheet format, especially if they want to adhere to the international financial reporting standards. But in a cash flow forecast, it's more of a management accounting tool. It's an internal tool used for management in order to manage the business, basically. So how do you get the data and how you pull it together? So let's think about the collections, your sales collections. Well, some people do it on a very high level basis. They kind of look back over the last 6 months and the value of collections that they've got in total, and they kind of say, well, we'll take an average of that and over that period, and that's what we're going to get month on month going forward. That's a really lazy way of doing it, and it can come back and bite you in the ass, because you may have had a really good period over a couple of months over those last 6 months, or in the total 6 months, you could have had a really good period, which will skew the data, and as such will overestimate any cash inflows that you're going to have in. So I don't like doing it that way. I think it's better, and it's better practice to do it if you look by customer. So you look at let's say your main customers, and what you'd probably find is that you'd have, the top, your 80% of your income will probably come from about 20% of your customer base. So you kind of look at those first, your main customers, that provide you most of your sales and most of your revenue, and you'd work on that. And so let's take a scenario. Let's say one of your main customers, customer A, you look at the terms and conditions of his contract. What it says is that he takes a regular amount from you. Let's say it's $1,000 worth of sales per month. That's the contract, right? And the contract in the terms and conditions of payment says that he will pay you after 30 days. So what you do is you look back at the historical data for customer A as you're going through the year. Yeah. So let's say we get to the end of the first quarter of this year, and we're doing our cash flow forecast at the end of March for the remainder of the year. So from April through to December, you'd look back at that first quarter and you'd kind of say, well, what's he actually doing? Now, as per the terms and conditions of contract, let's say he does take his amount. Let's say it's 100 units at $10 a unit to give him his $1,000 worth of sales every month. And you look back and say, yeah, he does take his 100 units every month, right? And he is paying 10 a month. But what you're finding is that he's not paying, right, at the end of 30 days. In fact, what's happening is he's paying 80% of the value after 45 days, and the remainder, let's say on average then, between 45 days and 60 days, which is not that great, right? It's not in line with terms and conditions of payment, but he's a big customer. He's a main customer of yours. And while you don't want to upset the apple cart with him and, kind of put him into a position where you could lose your business, you've got to look at it and say, well, he's not adhering to the terms and conditions of payment. Now, as for your forecast, you, from a management perspective, you probably take two-prong attack, right? As per your forecast, you would factor in what's actually happening, right? you wouldn't factor in the terms and conditions of the contract. You wouldn't say, oh, he pays me after 30 days, because that's not true, right? You would look at it and you would say, well, he's paying me 80% after 45 days and the remainder after, let's say, an additional 10 days, or after 55 days. And that's how you would build your forecast up for him month on month on month on month, right? Going forward, you would reflect what's actually happening. Now, the second part of the attack is that you would need to go and speak to him about it. You'd need to sit down and say, look, you're one of my biggest customers and love your business and all that, but you're not adhering to this. This is how you're paying me. Now, what could happen is that depending on the size of the business, as a management team, he may not know what's going on in the finance department and turn around and say, oh, I'm really sorry. We'll correct this. And so that gets rid of this problem for you. Or he may have issues of his own where he comes back and says, yeah, okay, I understand. Look, you're a really good, supplier of ours, and we need your business, but that's why we're paying you. We have some problems, and that's why we're paying you 80% after 45 days, and the remainder after, let's say, 55 or 60 days. And we were expecting you to come back at some point in time. But you've opened that dialogue with him in order to address the issue that you have. Because if you don't, then you're obviously going to be in a situation where you're not cash negative, but you're going to be behind the ball when it comes down to collection of cash, right? So there's the two-prong attack, is that you'd put into your cash forecast what's actually happening. And then second part is you'd go and speak to him. Now, based off the discussions that you have with him, and the next time you forecast, you would build in the outcome of that discussion with him. So let's say as a result of it, you come to an agreement that he pays out of that month's sales, he pays 50% after 30 days and the remaining 50 days after 45 days. Then you build that into your cash flow forecast going forward, because that's the scenario now, right? So you're always looking at historical data in order to predict the future, but also historical data to identify issues that are coming up within your business and within your customers that you need to address as a management team. Yeah. So that's how we get the data for collections. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's a little bit informative to you. You do that with all of your major suppliers, right? So let's say you have 5 or 6 major suppliers. You do exactly the same exercise with all your major suppliers. So you get a full understanding of how those suppliers work and how they affect your business, right? And then what you would do, let's say with the remaining 20%, is then you could take an average from those because they're not taking as much, they don't contribute as much revenue to you as the others do. Or, and if you do have the time to do it, is you do exactly the same thing with the remainder of your customers, depending on how many they are, right? Or depending on how important they are to you. But I would definitely do it with your main customers, because then you, like I said, you get the understanding of the impact that they have on your business and what's happening with regard to your collections. And for the remainder, it's up to you then whether you take an average of the sales that has been collected from them, or the collections from them over the last 6 months, and you use that as your basis of your forecast going forward. Only you can then decide on what to do it. But that's how I would build that data up. Like I said, I hope it's been informative. What we'll do tomorrow is we'll talk about the same sort of thing, but looking at the cost base, right? And how you get your material costs and how you get the data for your forecast for your overhead costs. Labor's pretty straightforward, so we won't really talk in any detail about that. Like I said, I hope that's been informative. Like I said, I do peddle a course. It's what I do. I've helped a lot of businesses in the past with cash management and cash flow forecasting, and as such, I've developed a course, and it's 50 hours. Like I keep harping on about. It's a good course, I have to say. It's a good course. It covers in detail everything that we talk about, from breaking you down into the difference between profit and cash. We look at quick wins. I do have a video which covers each of the modules within that course, which I've posted on YouTube and on Rumble. Have a look at it. There's links in the description. That link will then take you to a page which tells you a little bit more about the course and a little bit more about the people who have taken the course. And then there's a link on there, there's a button on there which allows you to have a conversation with me for 30 minutes. We talk about your business and what you do, and let's see if the course helps you or not. There's no obligation to take the course or pay for the course. And if you do take it, then like I said, it's 50 hours. It's about 30 odd videos. We go through it in detail. It's yours free for life then. And you get access to a group that I run every week, where we just sit together like this at a conversation. Anybody wants a drink, a cup of tea, soft drink, or even, some of them have something a little bit stronger, a glass of wine, because it's done in the evening, and we talk about any problems that you're having, and it's kind of like a group learning type thing, where we kind of learn off each other, and I get to answer your questions, it's fun. Like I said, I'm here to help. That's what I want to do. That's what I've been doing in the past, and that's what I want to continue doing, because nothing gives me greater pleasure than, let's say, I can help one person. If I help one person improve, then that's good for me. If I can help 10 companies improve, then that's fantastic. 100, amazing, right? That's what I do. That's where I get my kicks from. Let's put it like that. Strange, I know. I also have a book, an ebook. It's called Mastering Cash Flows. It's 7 strategies that every business owner should know. It's on a pay-as-you-can basis, because I didn't really want to sell it in any way straightforward, so you can pay whatever you want for this book and it's yours. And I also have a blog which you can subscribe to or follow, and it covers everything, a whole bunch of different topics in cash management and cash flow forecasting. So like I said, like that's what I wanted to do, because I know that cash is vital for every business. Anyway, so tomorrow we'll have a look at cost, how we bring the cost databases together. Hopefully adds, kind of rounds all this kind of series of videos off. And I hope you have a good day, and see you then.